Okay, so the question number 8, we have a compound bar chart here, composite bar chart. And the key for this bar chart is that the gray area shows away wins and the black area shows home wins. Okay, the vertical column of the bar chart tells you the number of games. The horizontal column tells you the name of the teams of different areas here. Now, part A says which team had the most home wins. So if you look at bar chart here, the Bristol, the number of wins here is 7, the home wins. Leeds, home wins are 4. Manchester is 8. Plymouth is 5. Okay, and Surrey is 4. So the team which has most number of home wins is Manchester. Okay, which two teams had the same number of away wins? So if you look at this carefully, to away wins, the Bristol, the area covered with away wins is 13. So the highest point of this bar is 13. So we need to find away wins. We will find the difference between 13 and 7. So 13 minus 7, that gives you 13, take away 7, and that gives you 6. So that's the number of away wins for Bristol. Okay, same thing we do for Leeds as well. So the highest point for Leeds is 9. So 9 take away 4, which is 5. For Manchester, the highest point is 12. So you do 12 take away 8, which gives you 4. Okay, the highest point for Plymouth is 11. 11 take away 5, which gives you 6. And the highest point for Surrey is 5. So 5 take away 4 is 1. So it says which two teams has the same number of away wins? That will be Bristol and Plymouth, because Bristol, both of these teams have the total number of away wins are 6. Okay, so you put here Bristol and Plymouth. Okay, part 8C says how many more home wins than away wins were there all together. So home wins are, you just need to add the home wins together, and that gives you 7 plus 4 plus 8 plus 5 plus 4, which is 28 home wins altogether. And away wins are 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 6 plus 1, which is 22 wins altogether. It says how many more home wins than away wins. So we need to do 28, take away 22, which gives you 6. Okay, question number 9. We need to solve this equation. It says x plus 17 equals 28. So what we need to do in order to solve any equation, we do the opposite. Okay, so because we are adding 17 in a number which we don't know, so we do the opposite, which is 28 minus 17, and that gives you 11. You can always check your answer by putting it back in the equation. So if you do 11 plus 17, okay, that should gives you 28. If you don't get the 28 as an answer, that means there's something wrong with your working out and you need to do that again. 9b says p over 3 equals 6. You need to work out the value of p. So that will be, because we are dividing here a number which we don't know, we divide that number by 3, and that gives you answer as 6. So we do the opposite to find the value of p. That will be p equals 6 times by 3, which gives you 18 altogether. Okay. Question number 10. Plants cost £2.40 each. You can use this table. So £2.40 is the cost of each plant. You can use this table to work out the cost of different numbers of boxes. So number of plants Cost is 2.1 for one plant. The cost is £2.40, 2 is £4.80, 5 is £12, and 10 is £24. We need to work out the cost of 3 plants. So what we can do is we can multiply 2.40 by 3. Okay, or we can add 2.4 and 2 plus 2.4 plus 2.4, and that gives you the same answer as well. Okay, so in order to multiply a number, you can use a grid method or we can use a column method for multiplication. So we do 3 times 0, which is 0, 3 times 4 is 12, 1 carry forward, put the decimal point under the decimal point. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7, so your answer will be 7.20. Okay, the next one, number 10B, it says Ethan pays £52.80 for some of these plants. Work out the number of plants he buys. Now we know the cost of each plant is £2.40, and we know that the Ethan all pays £52 altogether for some of these plants. Now to work out the number of plants, we divide 52.80 by 2.40. Okay, now you can use at this stage, you can use a fraction method, you can simplify the numbers together. Okay, and so you can write it down, these two numbers as 52.80 over 2.40, multiply both numbers by 10. Okay, and then simplify the fraction, and that should give you the answer as 22. Okay, as long as you're getting the answer 22, that will be fine. Okay, number 10C says use the table to write 9.60 to 12 pound as a ratio in its simplest form. So you have a ratio 9.60 and you need to write it down in the simplest form. So what we need to do first, we get rid of this decimal point from this number. In order to get rid of the decimal point, we multiply that number by 10, and that gives you 96. Same thing we need to do with the other side as well, which gives you 120. Okay, and then we divide both numbers by, you can divide both numbers by 2 to find the half of the number, or you can think of the biggest number, which is called highest common factor of both numbers. Okay, so what I can do is I can divide both numbers um, by 6. Okay, and that gives you 6 times 1 is 6, 7, 8, 9. 6 times is 36, 6 times 6 is 36. Okay, so 16, and on this side you would get 6 times 2 is 12 and 0, and then you divide both numbers by 4, and that gives you 4 to 5 as a final ratio. This is the simplest form. Okay, and that's the answer for 10C. Question number 11. A shopkeeper uses formula to work out the cost of bags of oranges. C equals 1.8 times N. C is the cost in pound. N is the number of bags. Work out the cost of 5 bags. So what we need to do, we instead of the cost, so C is the cost. So instead of C, you put the value of C, which is 5, to work out the number of bags. Okay, so what we need to do, we do C equals 1.8 and we multiply that by 5 because that's the number of bags. And that gives you, so 18. In order to multiply, just get rid of the decimal point because it's easier to multiply without a decimal point. You can do it with a decimal point as well, and that gives you 5 times 8, which is 40. 0, 4 carry forward. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 4 is 9. So your answer should be 9.0 or just 9. That's the cost. Okay, 11B says there are 3 oranges in each bag. Work out the cost of 1 orange if they each cost the same. So 1.80, that's the cost of 3 oranges. Okay, so 1 orange will be, just need to divide 3. So you divide 1.8 because that's the total cost. So you divide 1.8 by 3, and that gives you 0.6 or 60 pence. Okay. Okay, question number 12. P equals R plus 3 to make R the subject. Now, to make R the subject of the formula, we need R on the left-hand side of the equation on its own. So what we need to do first, we just write it down, this whole thing, which is R on the left-hand side. So R plus 3 equals P. It's just the same thing. I just put it on the left-hand side of the equation to see clearly that this is the R. But to make the R the subject of the formula, you put R equals, and do the opposite, do the reverse of plus 3, which is minus 3 on the other side. And that gives you R equals P minus 3, and that's the formula. Okay. Question number 13 says, by rounding each number to the nearest 10, estimate the answer to 78 times 11.6 over 39. So basically we need to round each number to the nearest 10 here, and then we need to estimate the answer. So 78, if you round this number to the nearest 10, that gives you 80. 11.6 will be rounded to 10. 39 will be rounded to 40. Okay, and that gives you 80 times 10, which is 800, over 40, which gives you 20 as a final answer. Okay, so your answer will be 20 here. Okay, question number 14. It says a point lies on the graph with the equation y equals x squared plus x. The x coordinate of the point is -3. Work out the y coordinate of the point. Now, what we need to do, this is just a formula of the line graph. So what we need to do is we put the point of x in the equation to work out the value of y. So y equals, instead of x, we put the value of x, which is -3 in brackets, put a square, plus -3 like this. Now -3 square means -3 times -3, which gives you 9, because 3 times 3 is 9, and when we multiply the negative number with negative, that gives you positive. So your answer should be 9. Because it's 9, and a positive negative is negative, so -3, which gives you 6 as the final answer. Okay, next is number 15. It says, is 30 times 44 greater than 15 times 90? So you will say no, and the reason is because it's half of 15. So you say half of 30 is 15, okay, but the half of 90, but 44 is more than half of 90. Okay, so what else you can do is you can solve both of these equations, both of the you need to do both of these calculations to find the final answer. Okay, number 16 says work out 1/5 plus 7/10, give you answer as a fraction. Now, in order to add the fractions, what we need to do, we need the same denominator. Okay, so we have one fraction which is 1/5, and the other fraction which is 7/10. Now, we need the same denominator to add both of these fractions. That means we need to find the equivalent fraction of this, which is 1/5. Okay, so we need to find the equivalent of this fraction. Okay, so that means we need to think about the lowest common multiple of 5 and 10. So which number is common in both times table? Okay, so we know that 10 is the lowest common multiple of 5 and 10, because 10 comes in 10's times table and also in 5's times table as well. So we need to make the bottom number of the first fraction, we need to make it 10. In order to do that, I have to multiply that by 2, and I need to do the same for the top number as well, and that gives you the equivalent fraction, which is 2/10. plus 7 over 10. I'm not going to change the second fraction. And then when you have the same denominator, just need to add the top numbers together. So 2 plus 7, which is 9 over 10, is your final answer.